The story begins in a quiet airport terminal in Dallas, Texas. It's an ordinary Thursday morning. Families are rushing with carry-ons, business travelers are glued to their phones, and children pull on their parents' sleeves, begging for snacks. In the middle of all this noise sits a man who looks almost invisible. John Miller, 72 years old, a retired pilot. His white hair's cut short, his jacket a little faded, his shoes worn. To most, he looks like just another old man waiting for a flight. He holds his boarding pass tightly, his hands trembling, not from fear but from age. No one pays him much attention. Some glance at him and quickly look away. To strangers, he's simply an old man traveling alone. But what no one sees is the life behind his eyes. 35 years as a pilot for the U.S. Air Force. Missions across dangerous skies, from Vietnam to the Gulf. Hundreds of hours flying under pressure, making life or death decisions. Medals tucked away in a drawer at home, never shown to anyone. John never tells these stories. To him, they belong to the past. When the announcement for boarding begins, people rush forward. John stands slowly, careful with his step. A younger man bumps into him and mutters, "Watch it, old man." John doesn't respond. He's used to being overlooked. As he boards the plane, he glances at the cockpit door. For a second, his lips twitch into a faint smile. He remembers what it feels like to sit behind those controls. But that was another lifetime. He takes his seat near the back, 27A, next to the window. Beside him, a teenager immediately puts on headphones, not bothering with introductions. Across the aisle, a mother struggles with her toddler while passengers roll their eyes. The flight attendants perform their routine safety demonstrations. Most passengers ignore them. But John doesn't. His eyes follow every gesture. His mind, almost instinctively, goes through the checklist. Old habits don't die easily. The flight begins smoothly. Passengers recline, order drinks, and scroll through their phones. John sits quietly, staring out at the clouds. The hum of the engines is strangely comforting to him. Then, the first jolt. The seatbelt signs flash. The plane shakes. Nervous laughter spreads among the passengers. A few mutters, "Just turbulence." But John knows better. He feels the rhythm of the vibrations. Something is off. The pilot's voice crackles over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some unexpected turbulence. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened." But John hears something in the tone. A slight hesitation, a crack in the voice. Minutes later, the plane shakes again, harder. Drinks spill, a child cries. The mother across the aisle clutches her toddler tightly. John closes his eyes. His mind races. It's not just turbulence, it's an engine. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes through the cabin. The left side of the plane lurches downward. Oxygen masks drop. Screams fill the air. Panic, absolute panic. The teenager beside John rips off his headphones, wide-eyed. The mother sobs, "We're going to crash." Passengers grab for their phones, some praying, some frozen in terror. But John doesn't move. His breathing slows, his eyes sharpen. For the first time in years, the instincts take over. He presses the call button. A flight attendant rushes over, her face pale with fear. "Listen to me," John says calmly, his voice steady like steel. "I'm a retired pilot. You've lost an engine. I can help." The attendant hesitates, unsure if this old man is serious. But John's eyes, calm, commanding, unwavering, say everything. "Take me to the cockpit, now." The flight attendant looks around. Passengers scream. The plane shudders. There's no time for doubt. She nods and leads John forward against the chaos toward the cockpit door. Inside, two young pilots are panicking. Alarms blare. Red lights flash across the control panels. The captain shouts, "We've lost engine 2. We're not stabilizing." John steps inside. The younger pilots stare in shock at the elderly stranger. "I flew this model for 20 years, John says firmly. "I know what's happening. Let me help." For a moment, Silence. Then, the captain, sweating, desperate, nods. "All right, sir. Show us." John slides into the co-pilot's seat, his hands moving over the controls like muscle memory. His voice takes command. "Throttle back. Re-trim. We need to balance before she flips." The young pilots obey, almost instinctively. His calmness cuts through the panic. The plane steadies slightly, but alarms still scream. The danger isn't over. Back in the cabin, passengers cling to their seats, praying. A man whispers, "We're done for." But in the cockpit, John's voice is unshakable. "This bird isn't going down today." The cockpit is a storm of flashing red lights and warning sirens. The young pilots are overwhelmed, their hands trembling on the controls. Sweat drips down their foreheads. John's voice cuts through the chaos. "Stay focused." She's heavy on the left. "Compensate with rudder. Now." The captain reacts instantly. The plane steadies, but another alarm screams, "Hydraulics failure." The first officer shouts, "We've lost hydraulics control. We can't hold her steady." John's eyes narrow. His mind races back to 1972, somewhere over Southeast Asia, when his jet took fire and lost control mid-air. He had survived then by trusting instinct. He would survive now. "Manual override," he says. "But sir," the first officer stammers, "do it. Now." The young pilots obey. The controls grow stiff, nearly impossible to move. But John's hands, though aged, are precise, firm. Every movement is deliberate, every decision razor sharp. Back in the cabin, the plane dives suddenly. Oxygen masks sway violently. A child screams, "Mommy, we're falling." Passengers cry out, clutching each other, some frozen in prayer. The teenager in 27B presses his face to the window, pale and trembling. He whispers, "We're not going to make it." But then he notices something strange. The plane levels out. It's still shaking, still fighting gravity, but it's no longer nosediving. He looks toward the cockpit door, and for the first time he wonders, who's flying this thing? Inside, John's focus is unbreakable. His hands dance across the controls, guiding the plane like an old partner he hasn't touched in years. "Altitude stabilized at 10,000 feet, the captain calls out, disbelief in his voice. John doesn't look up. "Good. Now listen carefully. We're not out of this. We've got one engine down and hydraulics compromised. We can't land heavy. We need to dump fuel." The captain nods, following John's instructions without hesitation. The younger co-pilot looks at him with awe. "Who are you?" he finally asks. John doesn't answer. His eyes stay on the horizon. Minutes stretch into eternity. The storm outside rattles the wings. The cabin shakes. Passengers are pale with fear. The intercom crackles. "This is your captain speaking. We're experiencing technical difficulties, but we're working on a solution. Please stay calm." But the passengers can feel it. The plane is still struggling. John knows there's no time for comfort. He takes a deep breath. "Nearest runway?" The captain checks quickly. "Oklahoma City, runway 17. Emergency services on standby." John nods. "We'll make it." But deep down, he knows it will take everything he has. As the plane approaches descent, another alarm screams. "Engine 3, fail." The cockpit goes silent. 2 engines gone. 1 chance left. The young co-pilot stammers, We can't make it." John's voice cuts him like steel. "Listen to me. This plane is built to fly on one. If we stay calm, she'll take us home." And in that moment, the 2 younger men believe him. Not because of logic, but because of the way he says it, with certainty, with the weight of decades in the skies. The descent is brutal. The plane shakes violently, dipping left and right. Every passenger clutches their seat, bracing for the end. In row 27, the teenager whispers, "Please, just let us land." Across the aisle, the mother holds her child, eyes shut tight. And then, through the chaos, comes a voice. Calm, commanding, steady. John speaks over the intercom himself. "This is Captain Miller. I need everyone calm and secure. We're going to land this bird together. I promise you, we will make it." For the first time, silence falls over the cabin. Fear is still there, but something else takes its place. Trust. The runway lights appear in the distance. The plane rattles like it's coming apart. The young pilot's hands shake uncontrollably. John grips the controls. His eyes are sharp, almost glowing. In this moment, he's not 72 years old. He's the Air Force ace he once was, the war hero no one noticed at the gate. "Flaps down, gear down, hold steady," he commands. The ground rushes closer. Screams echo through the cabin. The wheels hit the runway, hard. The plane bounces once, twice. For a moment it feels like it might tip. But John holds it, his arms strain, his body stiff with effort, and then, finally, rubber meets asphalt. The plane screeches, slows, and comes to a grinding halt. Silence, utter silence, and then an eruption of cheers, sobs, applause. Passengers hug each other, crying with relief. In the cockpit, the young captain stares at John, stunned. You just saved over 200 lives." John exhales slowly, finally letting the tension leave his body. He removes his trembling hands from the controls. "Just doing my job," he mutters softly. When the passengers disembark, many stop to thank him. The teenager from 27B stares at him in awe. "Sir, you're a hero." The mother with the toddler hugs him, tears streaming. "Thank you. Thank you for saving us." But John only smiles faintly. "Take care of your boy." Hours later, reporters swarm the airport. News headlines explode. Retired Air Force pilot saves 217 lives in mid-air crisis. For the first time in decades, John Miller's name is spoken not in silence, but in admiration. And though he never sought recognition, as he sits quietly in the terminal once more, there is something different now. People don't look past him, they look to him. He is no longer invisible. He is a hero.